Hey guys, I'm away at a training in Chicago right now, amazing training, but wanted to drop this while it came to mind. Janie was hanging with her friends on a hot, humid summer Louisiana day. And they were hanging out in the park and there was a pond nearby and everyone was like the humidity was like 99%. And so they're like, this is kind of gross. They're sweaty, they're hot. And they said, let's go have some fun in the pond. And so into the pond they go, but Janie stayed back. And she sees her friends splashing and having fun, and they're hitting the multicolored red, white, blue, yellow beach ball around and laughing and have a great time. They're waving her in, and Janie waves them off and says, no, no, no. Janie was sweating bullets and very uncomfortable. It was kind of like living in somebody's armpits. Gross. So anyway, Janie's watching her friends have fun and they seem to be having a great time and seem to be much more comfortable than she was. And they're waving her in more, and then she sees her friend Mary, who's on Billy's shoulders, and Mary kind of goes backwards off of Billy's shoulders into the pond. Big splash, lots of laughter. Janie says, what the heck, this is ridiculous. So she makes her way down to the pond and puts just her feet in the water. Instantly there's relief and her feet feel so much better. She says, well, hey, if that's working for my feet, why not? And she goes in up to her knees and her legs are starting to feel better. Before you know it, she's in up to her waist and she's still seeing her friends kind of waving her in further and they're having a good time. And it was at this point that she got in sort of right between her neck and her chest. The water level was at about this level. Once she hit that level, she felt the current underneath and quickly realized it was not a pond at all, but in fact a river. And as the current got strong, it swept her away. And as it swept her downstream, the current got even stronger and stronger to the point where she went into whitewater rapids. And she's banging off of this wall and slamming into these rocks. And she's trying to stop, but you could see how nearly impossible that would be given the way this thing has taken over. I think that's kind of what happens for a lot of people who get involved in addiction. You see, the intention at the time isn't to be full-blown addict, burglarizing, robbing from people, getting strung out, doing all sorts of things that might be embarrassing, that you would never do otherwise in your right mind. It's not the intention at the time. Nobody I've ever met who struggled with addiction said, yeah, I want to be strung out shooting heroin or popping pills, robbing from my family members, doing whatever deed, no matter how desperate or needy I get, just to score the next score. Yet there's so much judgment for people who end up in addiction, as if that was the intention when they started. And people themselves struggling with addiction judge themselves. You see, they're judging themselves based on the outcome, not the intention at the time. It might have started off harmless enough. Oh, I'll have a little fun. My friends are doing it. Everybody seems to be fine. We're young. They bounce back. They're resilient. Don't quite get the hangover effect. And on it goes and builds. So I'm bringing this to you under the context and in this story of addiction. But let's think about judgment as a whole. So many times judgments are being rendered and we have no idea what the backstory is, what people have been through, what they're up to, what kind of has led them to where they are today. I think the world will be a much better place if we just lose the judgment, connect with people as is. Thanks for hanging out, and remember, optimize your brain, optimize your life.